When people hear the term asylum seekers, it can cause confusion. Many people don't know what it means, who they are, and what they're doing leaving their home countries. Asylum seekers are people who have fled their home countries in the hope of a better life, and the reasons can often be complex, involving domestic, human rights issues, and war. Once they've arrived in the UK, they must apply for a refugee status, and whilst they're waiting for this to be approved, they can't work or really make any sort of life for themselves. But more importantly than all of this, they're people just like you and me. I'm to explore the life of an asylum seeker and the struggles they face upon arrival in the UK. We're currently facing the largest refugee crisis since the Second World War, with over 68.5 million people around the globe having to flee their homes in 2017. Despite this, there were only 14,000 grants of asylum in the UK. The process is long and complicated, and many individuals are left waiting months and even years for their cases to be seen. It's easy to paint asylum seekers with the same brush and assume everyone has a better life once they get here, but every story is unique. I spoke to Ferdaws and Nimo, who both came to the UK around 10 years ago. Ferdaws fled Afghanistan with his parents when he was a child. He now has a British passport and is studying for his degree. Nimo came from Somalia and, unlike Ferdaws, is still struggling to get her immigration papers. She's staying at the Catholic Workers Farm in Hertfordshire, which provides food, accommodation and a number of services for up to 19 destitute female asylum seekers. Here are their stories side by side for comparison.
Yeah, I got here 11 years ago. We moved straight to Devon, that's where my dad was. And I knew zero English, so primary school, secondary school was tough. Just actually like trying to fit in, let alone learn the language, was a whole different ballgame. But yeah, just listening to people's conversation, learning it was how I did it.
Yeah, I came to England in 2010. I come in and my husband is living here. Before I married my husband, then when I get married, he's sent me and the sponsor from in the UK. And he's because he's making too much to control it, and the financial problem, and many things is abuse me. Because when I'm going somewhere, he's shouting me, "Where are you going? Where are you going all the time?" He asked me a lot of the questions like this. Then one night I'm going somewhere, I'm coming my house, then he's kick off my face. Then I'm crying, then the police is coming. Then the police is throwing me here. Yeah.
People I've been around, my friends, family and everyone else that I've spoken to have been really, really welcoming. They've been nice. First off, they don't even know that I'm from a different country, because they're like, you don't have an accent, you just speak normal English. I'm like, yeah, I do, but I am from a different country. Like the name's the hint.
When I'm new, it's difficult. It look like it's a difficult place before, because I don't know what is doing here. Then when I'm coming, I'm crying too much. Then I'm feeling sad. And if I get the documents and the immigration, I have immigration problem. That's why I'm waiting. Is my document from Home Office. I wanted to British government, they help me.
I think the language barrier links with the cultural. If you don't know certain words, certain sayings, or just a general vocab, you're not going to fit into the culture because you don't understand the culture. You need to understand the language for them to fit into the culture, to then talk to the people.
Nimo also explained to me why she can't go back home to Somalia.
Yes, because if I back, they doesn't like the culture. Ismail culture doesn't like the women and the divorce. That's why I don't like it to go back.
Coming away from my conversations with Ferdaws and Nimo gave me a new perspective. Both of their experiences in coming to the UK have been hard, but the difference in their ability to speak English, their confidence and how much they've been able to integrate into society is substantial. I wondered if the fact that Nimo is not able to work could contribute to her difficulties in speaking English and in turn making a life for herself here. I travelled to Datchet, where the Ben&Jerry's headquarters are, to speak to Rebecca Barron about the Lift the Ban campaign they're currently in association with, which aims to help people like Nimo.
Lift the Ban is this great coalition of organisations all coming together to ask the government to lift the ban on asylum seekers being able to work, because at the moment they're effectively banned from working, which just makes no sense at all, because it means that people can't support themselves or their families, they can't really integrate into their new communities, and I think there's real opaqueness around the system and how it works. People don't necessarily understand the difference between someone seeking asylum and someone with refugee status. I think some of that misinformation is deliberate. I think the Home Office makes the process deliberately opaque and deliberately really difficult so that people coming into the country have a difficult time. And I think one of the great things about this campaign is not only are we trying to get a policy changed, which when it is changed will, immediately impact thousands of people for the better and thousands of people in the future for the better as well. But it's also an opportunity to, as you say, change this narrative, to tell some stories about people who have been through this system, people who are going through it right now, and try and break down some of those barriers that exist between asylum seekers and host communities.
It's been around 2 months now since my initial meeting with Nimo, and since then I've spoken with her a couple of times. And I think the thing that shocked me the most about her situation is how much it differs from Ferdaws. Because Ferdaws came here as a child, he was entitled to an education and he was helped out a lot more by the British government. And I think a campaign like Lift the Ban would clearly make a huge impact on someone like Nimo's quality of life. But it's also important that we open up the discussion around asylum seekers and educate ourselves on the topic and realise that just because someone's come to the UK, it doesn't mean that's where their struggle ends.